Alrighty, welcome back fellas. So we're going through the 10th anniversary, and yet I am seeing a lot of people comment on this anniversary saying that this is a very disappointing anniversary. Even some people are comparing it to the 9th anniversary and saying that this one is not even as good as the anniversary from last year. So today, I want to go ahead and discuss that with you guys and figure out, is the 10th anniversary disappointing or is it just being underappreciated? This is going to be a long vid, but hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you do, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, comment down below your thoughts. Let's go ahead and get into this. So, the first thing I want to do is to address the quote-unquote elephant in the room, which is if the 10th anniversary is better than the 9th anniversary. So obviously we don't have the 10th anniversary finished quite yet. We're still going into part 2 by the time I'm recording this, but we do have a great deal of information on the 10th anniversary, and of course we know everything about what happened during the 9th anniversary. So we can go ahead and kind of compare them, if you will. Of course, I have the timeline pulled up here for the 9th anniversary. We look at this, of course. The first thing to talk about is how many new characters and new units did we get for the 9th anniversary itself. So for the 9th anniversary, of course, we have, let's just count them off right here. 1 unit right here with Broly, 2 right here with Frieza, 3 with Gogeta, 4 with Beerus, 5 with the free-to-play Frieza right there, so 5 units so far, going to February, counting the EZAs as well, 6, 7, 8 right there, we're not going to count them because they're already there, of course, 9 right here with the EZA for Evoken, 10 with the Krillin and 18, 11 with the Gammas, 12 with Beast Gohan, 13 with MUI, 14 with Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta. These two are getting their EZAs, so still the same characters. Going to March, where like the EX part of the anniversary, 15 and 16. So 16 characters between EZAs, free-to-play characters, all that stuff. 16 characters basically getting upgrades and newly introduced into the game as a part of the 9th anniversary. So overall, pretty good, I would say, right? But, you know, of course, we have the roadmap for the 10th anniversary. Let's just go ahead and look at this, right? So, of course, remember, this roadmap includes the new characters for the 10th anniversary, includes EZAs, super EZAs, you know, like free-to-play characters, of course, you know, the side banner units. So, obviously, every character is included here. So, if we just count this off, you know, 1, 2 right here for GT, 3 right here with the OG Dragon Ball, 4, 5, you know, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 down here with Majin Buu Saga, 11, 12 for Planet Namek Saga right there, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 as we go through movies, 19, 20, 21, 22. So basically the 10th anniversary is giving us 22 characters, 22 upgrades, if you will, between units, you know, new units, you know, TORs, side banner units, the free-to-play characters, EZAs, super EZAs. So obviously 22 units compared to 16 from the 9th anniversary, the 10th anniversary has a clear-cut advantage. Now, if we want to go ahead and play devil's advocate, you can say, hey, Sky, well, to be fair, 2 of the new LRs are only here because the 10th anniversary is giving us 6 premier LRs as opposed to 4 from the previous years. And I will say that is truly fair. You know what, let's go ahead and dock off 2 of these LRs. So let's just go ahead and say, Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta is off the, roadmap and everything. Let's go ahead and say, one of the part 2 LRs like Goku and Frieza right here is gone. That's still 20 to 16. So there is still 4 extra characters being given by the 10th anniversary. And even then, you know what, you can go ahead and say all 4 belong to the Super EZA spots, of course, Super Vegeta, Buhan, Super Gogeta, and Janemba. But overall, the point I'm trying to make is just in terms of characters alone, the 10th anniversary is clearly giving us more than the 9th anniversary had to offer. And to be fair, that's what the expectation was, that's what's clearly happening, and it's a good thing. But, obviously, we are getting more characters, so in terms of that alone, the 10th anniversary is beating the 9th anniversary in that sort of regard. The other thing is in terms of content. I hear a lot of people say the 10th anniversary has no content, the 9th anniversary is better in that sort of regard, so let's go ahead and just check this out. Of course, we go through the content. We got 2 Dokkan events, right, from the 9th anniversary, one for the Part 1 Dokkan Fest, one for the Part 2 Dokkan Fest units, right, so that's the same thing as what we're going to be getting this time around. Of course, we did get some an orb event right here. Of course, some story quests for the 2 free-to-play characters, of course, which, by the way, we're getting 2 free-to-play characters here for the 9th anniversary. We're also getting 2 free-to-play characters, of course, with Demon King Piccolo and Trunks for the 10th anniversary. So, basically the same thing right there. Let's go ahead and just kind of go back to this and keep talking about it, right? Of course, we had some challenges, a boss rush, which, to be fair, we have not gotten an update to the boss rush stages for the 10th anniversary quite yet. Maybe we'll see that for Part 2, but that is something the 9th anniversary has over the 10th anniversary so far. Of course, the Blue Zone stage, Red Zone stages, other things like that. This is only in Part 1 of the anniversary, basically. Going into Part 2, of course, we still have other stuff, a burst mode, some EZA stages, of course, memorable battles or whatever, so we have a bunch of cool stuff going on, but really it's pretty simple, very straightforward. A couple more stages to the whole Blue Zone right here as we got Beast Gohan and everything. So all of it is pretty straightforward. But let's go ahead and talk about what the 10th anniversary is having to offer, because this is a point that I honestly think people are kind of tripping on when they say the 10th anniversary has no content, because when we look at this, right, of course, we have the free-to-play character, we have those tickets and everything, that's kind of whatever, the Part 1 banners and everything. We do have the packs. The 9th anniversary had packs too. I've heard some people say these packs are not that good, but I'm not a spender, so I'm not going to say anything about that because I don't know these packs that well, but we have the packs and everything. But we keep on going, of course. We have the Purunga Dragon Ball campaign, so that is different from the 9th anniversary. We didn't have that then, so we do have it this time around. We still don't know what the rewards are going to be, but we know they're going to be something important, of course, probably something to take advantage of, so there's that. Of course, the premium Dragon Stones give us Beast Gohan and everything, so that's been nice, of course, for players who can spend the money and get that. We have some special missions for the battle motions being renewed. Of course, the idle stances are being changed, right? So characters who are getting their idle stances updated, you can use them, get some Dragon Stones through the missions, so that is kind of something right there. The collected missions right here, the Dokkan Fest banners, whatever, all that good stuff. But we keep going down here. We're getting a lot of playable content, right? You know, 4 story quests compared to 2 that we got for the 9th anniversary. Of course, 2 were for the free-to-play characters. This time we have 4. 2 of these 4 can be used for the free-to-play characters. Of course, the Dragon Ball one for the LR Demon King Piccolo, right? The free-to-play LR Demon King Piccolo. And the Dragon Ball Z one can give you the free-to-play TUR Kid Trunks. So, you know, those 2 are going to be like our same kind of story events as 9th anniversary, but still getting 2 more on top of that with GT and Dragon Ball Super. Dokkan Chronicles, this is new. Of course, this is giving everyone a chance to use characters from specific periods in time and basically just take on various challenges, various fights and everything for rewards, for celebration characters and everything. So honestly, this is a new event, and honestly, it's a really fun event. Of course, you know, they're updating the 10th anniversary battle and stuff for skill orbs and everything, and as well as Dragon Stone, so there's that. You know, the blue zone, just like the 9th anniversary, so that's not going to be something I'm going to hold against either side, really. Battle hardened formidable foes. This is kind of nice. It's like an updated, really hard super battle road, if you will, but still a really fun challenge, of course. Thrilling battle, this is kind of like whatever, basically like your punching bag kind of thing. Can you do a lot of damage? GG type of thing, so there's that. Nothing too crazy there. They did update the Baby Saga kind of stages right here, so that's kind of nice, of course. The orbs right here, just like what we got for the 9th anniversary, so all that's pretty much the same stuff right here, you know, nothing too crazy. It's really straightforward stuff, of course. 2 red zone stages, though. This is something I want to key in on, is we're getting 2 red zone stages. Goku story, Vegeta story, both have the same types of bosses for the most part, it would seem, but they are differently designed, right? So that's something that's very cool about this, of course. The Ultimate Clashes, all that stuff. So, you know, overall, I will say, in terms of content, the 10th anniversary is beating the 9th anniversary as well in that sort of regard. I mean, if we look at the challenges, of course, we go down here, we see a lot of that content being shown right here, of course. Go to the growth tab, you know, we go down here. Of course, we have also, by the way, it wasn't shown right there, but we have a new set of link level stages right here with the King Kai stages, so that's going to be really awesome, of course. You know, a bunch of good stuff. Also, we have a new kind of a stage being added with Training in the Cloud, so basically, I don't know if they made a new one down here, it doesn't look like it, but you know, with Training in the Clouds, what they did, if I can find it again, is they basically updated it, so now there is a new stage to it. You can get a nice set of rewards for, like, Dragon Stones and Elder Kais and everything, and a bunch of training items and stuff, but also, it's a great stage for you to basically just link levels. So, they're giving us a lot of stuff, honestly, a bunch of great stuff, and to be fair, I understand the sentiment that a lot of this is coming as we're getting closer to part 2 of the celebration, but we're still not officially there yet, I guess, or technically you could say that we are, because it's already past February 9th, the part 2 Dragon Balls are already out, but the part 2 LRs have not dropped yet, so we're kind of in that, you know, halfway point between part 1 and part 2, so I think if you want to argue this is all part 2 content and part 1 was kind of mid, that's fair, but at the same time, you know, I think we're still technically in part 1, and overall, you know, regardless, the 10th anniversary has been giving quite a lot in terms of content, but yeah, I mean, in my opinion, you know, the 10th anniversary has definitely beaten the 9th anniversary when it comes to what it has to offer so far. Now, there's still 2 things that we don't know for certain. The one big thing is, what are the kits going to look like for the new part 2 units, right, like the part 2 LRs? Are these units going to be broken? Are they going to be cracked? We don't know for sure, but that is a very important thing to figure out, because if these characters are disappointing in some way, shape, or form, hopefully they're not, but if they are, then we can make an argument that maybe the 10th anniversary is a bit worse compared to the 9th anniversary, because we all remember what Beast Gohan was like for part 2 of the celebration for the 9th anniversary. He changed the game, and he's still a dominant player to this day. So, honestly, I mean, that's like one of the things that we have to wait to see. Also, the other thing is how many stones are being given as a part of the overall 10th anniversary celebration compared to the 9th anniversary. That is important as well, especially for free-to-play players. You know, you want the anniversaries as they progress to give you more and more stones, and hopefully this will kind of be a reflection of that. We'll hopefully get more stones with the 10th anniversary than the 9th anniversary, but if that is something that does not happen, then I think down the line I may have to revisit this whole kind of conversation, but for right now, based on what we know, it does look like the 10th anniversary is at least better than the 9th anniversary. The other thing, though, I want to kind of harp on a bit more, the one thing I kind of want to focus on a bit more now that I mentioned it, is talking about part 1, because I think part 1 has a great deal of fault when it comes to promoting this. And I actually asked you guys, on Twitter and on my community post and everything, what do you guys think about part 1? Because especially I've been hearing a lot of people say part 1 has been so disappointing, so I wanted to see what people had to say about this. And for the community post right here for YouTube, I only got one person to respond, so that's a bit of a woe is me right there. But shout out to Omni King, of course. He has a YouTube channel, by the way, so check out his content. Of course, Omni King content, you can search that right there. I'll maybe leave a link in the description. But yeah, this guy is really awesome, of course, with content. But he was saying, not disappointed with part 1, but no normal EZA is pretty bad. And Vegeta, right, the Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta, being debatable with Gogeta from a year ago is also bad. So this is honestly a very fair point. I've seen a lot of people say Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta really sucks, and he is such a massive anchor on the 10th anniversary, holding it down, if you will. So that's unfortunate, but it does seem like that's going to be the case when it comes to, like, one of the issues with part 1 is just Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta's presence and what he's unable to do in terms of his kit and what he has to offer. So that's one thing. And also, again, no normal EZA. Of course, we just got recently the EZAs for the Namek duo right here, Namek Frieza and Namek Goku. But, before that, really all we had was the Super EZAs, right? The 4 Super EZAs, and they are nice. But let's talk about the elephant in the room when it comes to Super EZAs. For one, Super EZAs, as far as fights are concerned, they do not give a lot of Dragon Stone. So that is a very serious issue for me, for a lot of players. So a lot of people have issues with that. The other thing is that for Super EZAs, they are a very serious kind of gatekeeping kind of thing for newer players, right? Because if you're a new player, you may not even have any of these 4 characters, and if you do, because you used your redstones or something, you may not even be able to get their Super EZAs to make them relevant, because you need certain teams with the EZAs and everything to beat these stages. So, this is a real test of how long you've been playing the game and how many characters you have in your account EZA and everything, so that you can beat these Super EZA stages. So, for part 1, obviously we got the Super EZAs, they're awesome, they're fun to use, but for a lot of people, they may not even be able to enjoy this because you can't get the Super EZAs, you may not even have the characters, in which case, what is the point of the Super EZA stages for the time being? So, in that sort of respect, I will acknowledge that part 1 is kind of like messing things up in terms of an order. If anything, I would have preferred that they gave us maybe the Planet Namek Saga EZAs, maybe push these two like the movies Super EZAs down to part 2, maybe give us something else, because the way they order things, it's fine, but at the same time, I think for part 1 especially, people were kind of like, okay, this is kind of like whatever, we're just kind of going through the motions, waiting for part 2 to come, when we'll get the 7th anniversary EZAs, maybe the part 2 7th anniversary EZAs as well, of course, we'll maybe get the part 2 LRs and everything, obviously. So I think that's what's kind of been going on for a lot of people. I even asked on Twitter the same kind of question, of course, and, I got a couple of responses. Shout out to Chris, by the way. Chris is also another content creator, so, overall, no complaints with part 1, but the variety of events, although not too difficult, is nice to have, of course, with Dokkan Chronicles and everything. The main point, though, is that having more missions for both old and new events is really nice because it incentivizes running unique team builds. And I think the best way to kind of express that feeling is with Dokkan Chronicles, if I can find it right here. So yeah, Dokkan Chronicles, I think, is the best way to kind of express that point, which is that basically all of these stages, right, you can get like basically the same kind of reward, which is these tickets, but you're forced to use different teams based on who fits into these sorts of time periods, right? Because, for like the first year right here, you can only use characters from like the first year of Dokkan or something like that. Same thing like the 5th year, up to the 5th year, you can use characters from that period. So, based off of that, that is one of those things where it does kind of incentivize players to use unique team comps if you can do so. But it's kind of like a glass half full, glass kind of like half empty kind of approach, because you can look at this as a lot of content for a lot of players for a lot of different things, but also on the flip side, you can look at this as a lot of content that a lot of players may not be able to access because maybe you don't have a good team of first year Dokkan characters, right? Maybe you don't have the characters or teams for this early stages, in which case you're kind of screwed. So that's like kind of like the glass half empty kind of look at it in that sort of sense, but it's kind of like a 50-50, I think, with part 1 in terms of how they handle that. I think that's why this is like a big issue there. Right here with the Rive, or like River, I think is how you say their name. So as they said, the only disappointment so far is the fact that they did not return the peak summoning experience for part 1 of the Global's 9th anniversary. And, when I was kind of like talking about it with them, basically they were confirming, what they were talking about was the step up summon. So basically, for those who remember, right, for Global specifically, JP did not get this when we got our anniversary, but for Global during the 9th anniversary, you guys had a step up summon kind of setup here for the first and like for the part 1 banner format. So basically the step up summon was a lot better in value compared to what we get right now, which is buy 3 get 1. But, so far we have not seen that. Now, hopefully, we'll have to wait and see what the stream has to say on this, but hopefully we will see a step-up summon banner format for Part 2 of the anniversary. But if we don't see it for Part 2, we obviously have not seen it for Part 1, then that will be a major L in terms of this anniversary, because the step-up summon format is so good for people who spend, for people who are free-to-play. Regardless, it is such a great format. So hopefully they will come back to that, because that is something that I think is so great if they can take advantage of that. So that's something I would say right there. But yeah, overall, I mean, I think, there is a lot of things that the 10th anniversary is offering in terms of characters, in terms of content. I understand the Part 1 has not been up to everyone's liking because of how they've ordered things with the Super EZAs and everything. But still, I think overall it has been pretty good. Also, though, one thing I want to kind of address in tandem with that is the overall 10th anniversary choices. And someone kind of mentioned this, but I didn't really think about it too much, but I want to kind of talk about it right now, which is the idea of if the 10th anniversary choices, all 6 of them, are ruining the overall experience for the 10th anniversary. And what I mean by this is, going back to the 9th anniversary, people were very excited to see an LR Extreme Broly once again, to get a Gogeta. Of course, Gogeta is hype no matter any time you pull him out. Gogeta is always a dope unit to pull for, so a great, easy kind of go-to for anniversaries. But then Part 2 came, and Part 2 was when everyone was basically just going crazy, because that was when we finally got the Gammas, of course, Gamma 1, Gamma 2 with the sacrifice, which we hadn't seen in the game really, but also we finally got a standalone, legitimate beast Gohan. So the hype, the expectations, everything was just dialed up to 12, 13, 15, and it really kind of was exciting because of how the track was progressing, basically with the first Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, right, and then going into Dragon Ball Super Hero. So they really kind of ordered things in a nice way, and it was really kind of cool to see how the progression went, going from the first Broly movie to then Superhero with Beast Gohan and everything. For the 10th anniversary, though, they're going through this whole kind of different approach, where basically they're focusing on touching every single area of Dokkan's history, or Dragon Ball's history, right? GT, of course, Dragon Ball Z, Super, even OG Dragon Ball. But, I've seen a lot of people upset, or not a lot of people, but I've seen a fair number of people, I should say, upset about some of the 10th anniversary choices. Obviously, Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta, a lot of people were upset about this character, but I will say, I think a lot of people being upset about his kind of presence in the 10th anniversary really comes down to his kit. If his kit was a lot better, I think we would not be hearing this sort of conversation for a lot of people, because, a lot of people look at Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta, think he's not that good, think he's trash, basically a waste of space in that sort of, sense, and then you look at Part 2 with Goku and Frieza, and you're like, well, they're kind of doubling down on the Tournament of Power, which is a hype moment in Dragon Ball Super, no one should get that mistaken, but at the same time, a lot of people I've been hearing have been saying, if Vegeta was going to be this mid, if we're going to be getting a Frieza and Goku, why not get rid of this spot and give us an actual, Carnival LR Dragon Ball character, right? Because OG Dragon Ball, if anyone has complaints about the 10th anniversary in terms of how this has been laid out, most of the complaints have been in terms of OG Dragon Ball just getting one character, and that one character being a free-to-play LR, because Dragon Ball typically doesn't see a lot of love in big celebrations like worldwide celebrations or anniversaries. This was one of the best chances, and we're really not getting that. And to be fair, maybe it's not going to be as hype for the overall community as some of the other stuff, but still, I think when you look at Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta's kit, see how he's performing, or rather, how he's failing to perform, I think that's one of the biggest reasons why a lot of people maybe just don't like the choices overall, and look at OG Dragon Ball as one of the biggest reasons why the choices are kind of mid, because you think maybe Vegeta could have been removed, and maybe we could have gotten legitimate, Carnival, Demon King Piccolo, or something else like that. So, that's, I think, an interesting kind of point of contention. To be fair, I think a lot of people are really fine with the overall 10th anniversary choices. Obviously, EZAs and Super EZAs are dope, but especially the new Premier LRs, I think everyone is perfectly okay with Super Vegito, Super Gogeta, of course, the way they're introducing the tag system, the way they're bringing the tag as well to Frieza and Goku, that's really dope, of course. I've seen a lot of people say Goku and Frieza are kind of mid, but I think that's just a bit of hate looking at Super Vegeta, or Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta, I should say. But I think, Goku and Frieza overall are pretty fine. Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, he's fine. He's not going to have any issues. Even Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, all of them are good. So, in that sort of respect, I think, the 10th anniversary choices are fine. But, yeah, overall, I think, I heard some people complain about it. I think this is probably one of the weaker kind of issues when it comes to the 10th anniversary compared to some of the other stuff that we've even talked about earlier in this vid. But, if we keep on going, of course, I think there's probably one other thing I really want to touch on, which is the overall kit quality, and whether the lack of kit quality is becoming an issue. So, what do I mean by this? Well, basically, of course, we've been going through the 10th anniversary, we've gotten a lot of things, Super EZAs and everything, but, for the most part, it feels like some of the kits have been lackluster compared to what people have been expecting. And, if we go to, I searched up right here, 10th anniversary Dokkan, disappointing, I've been seeing a lot of people complain about, various pulls and everything, but also people are upset about Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta just being a disappointing unit in terms of his kit and everything. We keep on going. I've even heard, some people just complain about, Namek Goku and the AGL Full Power Frieza, basically, talking about how they are not that good as people were expecting, and people were like, oh, well, they're going to be trash, and others were like, no, you guys don't know what you're talking about, wait until he's in the game, and yet he's still kind of being average. So, there's a lot of things like that. I mean, I think a prime example of this as well is the Super EZAs, right? A lot of people were expecting Super Vegito and Super Gogeta to basically redefine the game, to become some of the most broken Super EZAs, I think, on the planet Earth. And so far, I don't think anyone is going to say that these two are the best Super EZAs in the game. If anything, that title probably will go to Buhan, maybe followed by Janemba, but I think you can make an argument for Gogeta being the second best Super EZA in terms of what he can do in the right positions. But, Super Gogeta is still not the best Super EZA, so that's disappointing. And Super Vegito, he feels pretty bad in certain situations. He feels like he could have been much better, and they decided to pull the reins and hold him back, if you will. So that's an issue right there. Of course, obviously Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta, his kit, I think, is one of the biggest issues when it comes to this whole conversation. But, he's, of course, there. People have no problem with the kits for, Super Vegeta right here with Goku and Vegeta. No one has an issue with the kits for Super Saiyan 3 Goku. But also Namek Goku and Full Power Frieza, both of them have really good kits, it would seem, right? Really usable kits. But at the same time, they're not on the level that a lot of people were expecting. And I think the expectations are really what's making the 10th anniversary feel very disappointing for a lot of people, because everyone in some way, shape, or form was going to be upset with the 10th anniversary. Whether you were like me and maybe you wanted a pure Namek Saga Premier LR and we didn't get that, so that was going to be kind of upsetting. Of course, whether you wanted an OG Dragon Ball character and all you got was a free-to-play character, maybe you wanted some more GT love, maybe you wanted some more focus on Saiyan Saga or movies, maybe you didn't want a Gogeta from Super Gogeta, maybe you wanted a Vegito Blue or something, I don't know. But, I'm sure everyone was going to be upset in one way, shape, or form. But, because of that, no one's going to be truly happy with the anniversary because they're trying to touch every single base as best as they can. And yet, when we look at it, it feels like they are kind of prioritizing some things other than other kind of kits and units and everything. And that's, I think, what really kind of is bothersome for a lot of people is you look at Super Vegito, he's kind of average, right? To be fair, they want to make the tech new Super Vegito look good, but it feels like they made Super Vegito worse to make the other one, the newer one, look good. And I mean, Gogeta, he feels good, but I can imagine that the Part 2 Gogeta, when we look at his kit, he's going to be a whole different level compared to this Gogeta. So there's things like that, Namek Goku, Frieza, so I think you guys can see where I'm coming from. There's a lot of different things that people like to kind of poke holes on when it comes to the 10th anniversary in terms of why the 10th anniversary sucks, why it's not that good, why it's disappointing, why it's a letdown, all this sort of stuff. But if you ask me, do I think it is disappointing? No, I don't think it's disappointing. Not really. I mean, are there parts that are frustrating? Absolutely, without question. I mean, no one, in my opinion, can sit up here with a straight face and say to me that this anniversary has no flaws whatsoever. I mean, you practically lose all of your credibility if you chose to say something like that. But at the same time, when we talk about the 10th anniversary, comparing it to the 9th anniversary, clearly the 10th anniversary, so far from what we know, is offering more than the 9th anniversary. So that's a W for the 10th anniversary. Beyond that, there is a lot of content being offered between various types of stages, between different red zones and blue zones and everything, new different content, anniversary battles, all this sort of stuff, story stages and everything. Obviously, as far as picks are concerned, they did a good job, I think, with the picks overall. If Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta was better, then we probably would not have the contention about him being a bad choice overall, and maybe the same could be said for Goku and Frieza by that extension. But I mean, obviously, a lot of people are going to be upset about OG Dragon Ball only getting a free-to-play character. I agree with the hatred and the anger and that sort of pain and everything. But at the same time, they obviously are trying their best to touch everything, and I think they're doing a pretty decent job in that sort of regard overall. And then, I mean, if we keep going and talking about it, I mean, even in terms of like the kits and everything, yes, quite a few kits feel a bit lackluster maybe compared to what we were hoping for. But at the same time, we're still getting a lot of great characters, right? Super Vegito in a lot of positions is really good. Buhan is amazing. Janemba is amazing. Gogeta in a lot of positions can be really awesome. We have to wait to see what the T-War and the LR can do for these two characters, of course. But Gokul right here, Hercule into Gokul, whatever, with the fusion, he's awesome. Vegito is awesome. Super Saiyan 3 Goku's awesome. Frieza and Goku right here, Namek Goku, they're pretty good. I wouldn't say they're top 10, which is kind of heartbreaking, but at the same time, they're still really fun, still really awesome as well in the right positions. So overall, I think this anniversary is quite good. Now, again, we'll have to wait and see what the end of the anniversary has to offer before we can make probably any official kind of confirmations, but I will say, right now, if the anniversary progresses in this sort of fashion, I am probably not going to touch on this topic again, but if the anniversary somehow fumbles going into part 2 and towards the end of the anniversary, if it doesn't give as many stones as the 9th anniversary or something else like that, maybe I will revisit this topic. But that's just what I'm going to say right there, and that's going to be where we're going to have to end this vid. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, of course, comment down below your thoughts, let me know what you guys think about the 10th anniversary, and if it is disappointing, or if it is just being underappreciated in your opinion. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.